if that's
Yeah,
okay. But if that makes it
totally
awkward,
totally
That's
fine.
perfectly fine. Yeah.
right.
All right, so I'm going to start the webinar. It's going to take a little bit for people to join in because we have so many people waiting at the door, just waiting for the power hour to start. So we'll give it a few minutes for folks to join us. So I am not anymore in in my home. I've actually sold my home. So my background will be continually changing, and I'll keep you guys posted as to my shenanigans. But while we're waiting for people to still come in, Michelle, you got a puppy.
I do. I'm a proud new puppy mama. We our last Bichon puppy passed away a couple of months ago, and I've been going through withdrawals. It's so quiet all day without a puppy and a coworker like to be here with me. So I have an 8-week-old puppy. This is my first live event, so I hope he just sleeps and behaves himself, but we'll see. If not, you may see me holding a puppy half the way through the webinar today.
Well, we'll see how that goes. So Michelle, you gonna want to kick us off here for our new power hour today?
You betcha. Welcome, everybody, to another QB Power Hour. We're very glad to have you joining us today. Today, we're going to continue our series on QuickBooks Online Advanced, the features deep dive. Today, Dan and I are going to be talking to you about tasks and workflows, and I'm really excited to share this with you and demo some of this in QuickBooks Online so you can see how it's going to really save you a ton of time. And we're really excited today that we have a special guest joining us, so we'll let Ted introduce himself in just a second here. My name is Michelle Long, CPA, MBA in entrepreneurship, owner of Long for Success, been a trainer for Intuit since 2007. And as you all know, I just really love this and love helping you all learn more about QuickBooks and marketing and value pricing and all that stuff. So I'm glad to have you joining us today. Dan, how about you?
Yeah, my name is Dan DeLong, owner of DanWith. I worked at Intuit for nearly 18 years. I'm the co-host, of course, today, and I also do a workshop Wednesdays, oddly enough, on Wednesdays. So tomorrow there'll be another workshop where we'll talk about some of these QuickBooks things at schoolofbookkeeping.com. I also was a technical editor for QBO for Dummies in the series of 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th edition. So Ted, we're so excited you're here. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you both so much for having me. It's awesome to be with you both, and then all the folks that have tuned in live to the YouTube stream. Michelle, like you, we just got a pandemic puppy as well.
Oh, yay!
And my daughter, I have 3 children. My daughter, our youngest, has been begging to have a puppy since she was born. And I told her, she's now 10. I said, this is already your Lifetime Achievement Award. You're very precocious. Because you convinced my wife, who's not a big dog person, to get a puppy finally. So that's been awesome.
Oh, how exciting.
One of the few silver linings, but very welcome in the midst of all of the pandemic crazy.
Yes.
So quickly on me, I was born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee. And because of I think my grandfather's legacy of working at a Ford dealership, I just grew up loving to drive. And so a fun fact I thought I would share with you all is that I've actually been to every state in the continental US.
Wow, how cool.
And a lot of that was actually traveling with my grandfather all over the country, which was really fun. So we can talk about some of those stories later on. I've been at Intuit for 4 years. Before I was at Intuit, I had a couple of different jobs in the startup world, started a venture fund to do seed venture investing. And then prior to that, I actually worked in consulting for 6 years. And I think it was that specific background, really understanding the power of great client service, that really put me in the consideration set for stepping into this role with all of our accountants. And I think I've really loved in my first 6 months in the role, just getting to meet so many of you and hearing your own passion for client service puts me back in those days. And I just, I honestly have been so fired up by the passion and the spirit of this community to go serve clients, especially in the midst of COVID. And it's been truly inspiring. So a bunch of themes that I'll share with you all, maybe if we get around to it. But those are just a couple of fun facts about myself.
Great. Right. We're very glad to have you joining us today.
So a little details about the QB Power Hour. It's every other Tuesday at noon Eastern. And some upcoming things we're going to be, next one we're going to be having is niche nuances. We'll be continuing that series because it's been a very popular search term on our website about real estate. So we're going to talk about real estate rentals with professional Geeta Faust will be joining us then. And then we're going to have Licio come back. There was a little bit of a challenge with them when they joined us the last time. So we're going to have Licio come back, and they're going to talk about how you can get your clients to respond to your requests the first time.
That would be amazing.
Right. So, and they have a great tool to be able to do that. And then we'll continue back with our QBO Advanced Feature Deep Dive series with the reporting enhancements. Now, this webinar today was supposed to be the reporting enhancements, and Hector Garcia was going to be coming on to talk about that. But because of the change in the tax deadline, because he's a CPA that actually does taxes, right, Michelle?
Yes.
So he's a little busy,
swamped
right now to really do anything other than deep dive into taxes. And of course, we have the links there for the PDFs of the slides. You can also get them on our website. You can watch all of the historical webinars on Michelle's YouTube channel. And then, of course, we also have the podcast as well. Just a little housekeeping. Since I am not in my home anymore, I don't have dual monitors. I'm actually got a laptop to the left of me here, so I can kind of facilitate this presentation here today. So if you see me turn, that's fine. But that's kind of like just to set the stage. And if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A section rather than the chat. The chat tends to just kind of scroll past. And if you have a specific question as we go through anything here today, put it in the Q&A. That way we can see it and address it specifically as we go through today's webinar. See, somebody put a question in there, and it just as I was talking. So our agenda today, we'll have a little bit of a chat with Ted, kind of where he's been, what he's done, and where things are going. And then we'll talk about the tasks and workflows overview and some use cases and resources for you to be able to utilize that. So the first thing is our first poll. So how many clients do you have using QBO Advanced? Of the clients that you currently have now, my understanding is that everyone in that is using QBO Accountant, not that QBOA, but this QBOA for accountants, should have all of the advanced features available in the Your Books section. So don't count yourself because when you're thinking of that. But how many end clients do you have using QBO Advanced?
And Dan, as I was reviewing stuff, getting ready for today's webinar, I was looking at these workflows as because the tasks are great, but for me, the workflows are just game changing. And I was thinking, that alone makes QBO Advanced really compelling for a lot of our small business clients. And I'm so glad that we now have that available for us in our QBOA. So I can't wait to share this with everybody and demo that and show you guys how much time it can save by automating a lot of these workflows and things.
Yeah, and I mean, initially when it was there, I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cute. But the enhancements of that feature over time has really kind of grown. And I think we're at a point where we want to really kind of, it is now a time-saving feature. I think it's not, it's still got room for enhancements, and we'll ask another poll question about, where you think that, those enhancements should be directed. But it's the enhancement that they've made in the last few months has been really like it's almost like a quantum leap, from what it was before to what it is today is a really great feature enhancement and time saver. So let me go ahead and stop the poll, and it looks like 1 to 2 is our main I don't know how do you say that with a poll? Top.
It was the majority. It was the
There
majority.
We go.
However, somebody pointed out in the Q&A that we messed up and we didn't put 0 in there. So the 1 to 2 could be skewed with a lot of people that were 0. So we apologize for that. It's just for information only. So sorry about that, everyone.
So it could be 0 to 2.
I was going to say that's definitely a poll designed by marketing, right?
Right. Everybody. Well, at least you got one. It's yourself.
That's right.
Now that we know. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, we're just going to talk a little bit with Ted here first. I'm going to stop the sharing so that we can actually just kind of see each other. Whoa.
You got it stopped.
I hear myself and.
So Ted, do you want to go ahead and start it off a little bit here?
Yeah, sure. I realized I started talking. I realized, in the intro, I should have been much shorter. So
that's okay.
nothing like keeping it all flowing. Yeah. So I think, first of all, just thank you both and the collective community for having me on. It's great to be with you. As I said, I've been in the role for about 6 months. And one of I would say where half of my time has been going has just been getting to know the community, hearing the stories, hearing about your collective passion for client service. Why did you get into accounting? What sustained you? And then what can we be doing to really be deepening our relationship with you? And so I would say the first kind of tenet, if you will, of what I've been up to is not only getting to know you, but then saying, hey, what are our opportunities to deepen our relationship with you? And the resounding bit of feedback that I've been getting is just being in events like this where I get to connect and hear more stories. So again, thank you for having me. Let me do that. And then also being, I think, more active, right? I know people like Caleb Jenkins have been saying, hey, Ted, get out there in social media and engage with us. So I've been working as well I'm not a big fan of Twitter, but I've been doubling down on Twitter and getting to know more of you that way. So that's been great. Thematically, what I'm hearing from you, let me pause. Michelle, you're about to say something.
I was going to say, instead of Twitter, spend more time in our QB Power Hour Facebook group. It's way active, and I think it's much better than Twitter. Of course, we're not biased at all.
No bias at all.
I was blown away to see the amount of engagement on one of the questions that you all put out about, hey, what are the opportunities to improve QBO? And the answers were pages and pages and pages. And I just love the passion.
That's one thing you'll discover about our community and our ProAdvisor tribe, if you will. We are very outspoken and not afraid to share our feedback.
That's right.
For better or worse, you will hear it.
Yes. But so I grew up in the South and I left the South candidly because I found people didn't shoot as straight as I wanted to shoot. And this community, whether you live in the South or not, you have none of that Southern euphemism. Direct and honest has been the tenor of the feedback, and it's great. And so again, the encouragement I've gotten is, hey, shoot straight, don't sugarcoat things with us, keep asking questions, keep listening. And then thematically, the other pieces that I hear are, hey, in that category of what are the improvement opportunities, I hear a lot about support, fixing support. And so I'll come to some of the things that we're up to actively trying to make that better, but it would be great just to hear the specific problems that you all are encountering as we're going along. And we can, if you all be kind enough to share the chat with me after, I can take that as more fodder for the change that we need to be driving. So that's one of the big themes. And I think the piece that I also am hearing from you all is the power of the connection of this community has been, it's been strengthened actually in COVID. You all have found, you already were working virtually, many of you. And so for a lot of you are like, well, there's actually been no change to how I operate. You already were in the cloud. But as you know, a number of your clients who are maybe dragging their feet in getting to the cloud, well now, nothing like a pandemic when you can't leave your home to really encourage that move and make the case for why to go online. And so I think the power of where you all already have been living in the future, now the rest of the nation, the rest of these industries are catching up to you all. So that's been fabulous.
And you know, Ted, I was talking to somebody else about this too, and I really think a lot of us in the accounting community have Intuit to thank for that, because I remember it was probably 10 years ago, we were doing Freedom in the Cloud seminars and road shows and going all around. Intuit was pushing us 10 years ago for moving to the cloud and learning how to work remotely and doing all this. And, you know, we really helped people do that. So now I think a lot of us have realized, wow, we were ahead of the ball and able to be well positioned to help our clients at this time. So as much as some of us accounting professionals don't like change, Intuit encouraging us to make that change did in fact help us and really positioned us for this pandemic. But speaking of change, I know there are some frustrations, which we always have whenever there's change. Would you like to comment on some changes we've heard about in payroll?
Yeah, sure. And I think thanks for the question. And again, like honoring what I've been hearing from all of you all, we just want to tackle these things head on, right? So last week, we sent out a communication to all of the accountants who were in our Intuit online payroll product, right? IOP for accountants and IOP enhanced, that we're going to be retiring these products and then transitioning everybody to the new QuickBooks online payroll. There were some, I think, points where we didn't do as good a job as we needed to in terms of the clarity and the specificity of what was happening and why. So I'll just kind of knock out a couple of these, and then we can, again, anything we didn't get that I'm not saying right, let me know, and then we can follow up. But I think,
yeah, and I think just to kind of frame it for the folks that are listening, if you do have a specific feedback for Intuit, specifically around this transition, the way it was handled, or anything like that, put it in the Q&A, and we will collect that and provide it to them. What we don't want to have is this webinar to be like a town hall with Ted, where we're talking about online payroll and the way that was handled, what happened or what didn't happen, and then we're not talking about tasks and workflows, which is what we're here to talk about.
Yeah. So I think the quick version is the Intuit online payroll product will be retired at the end of the year. You will continue to be able to use it all year long without any interruption, right? So that's the first headline. Going forward, you're going to be on the QuickBooks online payroll product. You'll be able to manage that through our QBOA product that you all know, and we're continuing to make enhancements. Hopefully some of you have already gotten to experience the payroll tab in the client list in QBOA. We just started rolling that out last month. And then we're going to be moving everyone to about 100%. We wanted to get that done after the tax deadline. When it shifted, we had to slow our roll, but that's coming. So timing wise, you're going to get to complete the year, because we know shifting payroll products in the middle of the year, not a great thing. Okay. So that's number one. Number two, all of you accountants in QBOA will now have access to our QuickBooks Online Payroll Elite, the premium product, for free. So that's great. All of you doing payroll, before you were paying for it, now you don't, and you get a lot of benefits in our Elite product.
Including the QuickBooks Time, right?
Correct, exactly.
Formerly T-sheets for those.
Yep, formerly T-sheets. Yes, and yeah. I've gotten feedback on the color of the logo changing as well. Very familiar.
So just a side note there. When I worked at Intuit, I started with QuickBooks 2000, and that was the year they removed the icon bar at the top, and that was like you took someone's child and said, you know, that was the biggest call driver, was where's the icon bar? And of course, 2001. I mean, to Intuit's credit, you know, they do listen to the feedback, you know, however colorful it might be, and they are, you know, they're not set in stone, you know, so they do make changes and adjustments based on the feedback that's provided.
That's right. And so on this transition, I think the key call out is, when the transition happens, there's nothing for you to do. This is all done in the back, fast, seamless, and integrated for you all. And it literally should take under 1 minute, right? So it should be super quick. Now, the question I asked our team, which is I know what all of you are going to go to, hey, worst case scenario, if something doesn't go wrong, what happens? And we've beefed up the payroll support for the cohorts that are going to be moving so that you'll have fast access to make sure that gets right. There was another bit of confusion on, hey, wait a second, this new QuickBooks Online payroll product, do I get a discount on that so that I can pass that along to my clients or roll that into the way I contract? Yes, we're still finalizing that. You'll be hearing more from us, but you will be getting a discount, okay? Clearly. And then I think the final piece is we have a internal charter to make sure that none of you are surprised by the changes that we're making. If you all have noticed, the pace of the changes that we're making is accelerating literally every month. It is astounding how much innovation that we're putting out. I know for all of you power users, it's hard, right? Change when you have a way of working, that change can be disruptive to your schedule. And that's why we try to communicate to you. One of the big things that I found that was an aha to me is a number of you have opted out of our emails. So that means we're trying to communicate to you, but we actually can't reach you. And so then it's more we're dependent on you to be checking our resources like Firm of the Future, or we're getting the word out in forums such as this for you to hear. But I would encourage you all, if you feel like you're not getting the communication, check your marketing preferences. You may have turned them off. And so we can't tell you about those alerts that are coming.
That's a really good tip, Ted. Thank you for sharing that. And I was just going to say, we've got several people that have asked some questions or made some comments and stuff. And some of them, I think it would be awesome if maybe perhaps not you, but perhaps some of your team, if we could share these questions with you and you all could post the answers for us in the QB Power Hour Facebook group, so people can kind of get their answers there. Because as you know, we do want to share tasks and workflows with everyone.
Absolutely.
So any final comments? But I do appreciate you kind of coming out and clarifying some of this, because I think that was important for people to get that clarification.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's it on payroll. I think in terms of, I know you all have the rest of your show to get to. I think there's a lot that I'd love to share with you of what have we been up to in terms of driving more improvements with ProAdvisor and with our different product experiences. But let's come back to that when we've got more time and we can go into that in depth. I think the key thing I want all of you all to hear from me directly is we're prioritizing our relationship with you. That's why we're out here. Number two, there's a ton of changes that we are making that I think are amazing, like month-end review, getting advanced for your books, all of that goodness that you're going to talk about with tasks and workflows in advance. That's really a game changer. And premium apps, those integrations are super helpful too. And there's a lot more that we're going to be doing. So we'd love to come back and share more about that in an appropriate time.
Well, you know, Ted, I know we'd love to have you back, and maybe what we can do, because Dan has done a fabulous job of booking us out for quite a while on our scheduled power hours, but maybe what we can do is do a special power hour on a Tuesday at the same time in between our regularly scheduled ones, so we could hear from you and talk about some of these other things sooner rather than later.
Yeah, that'd be great.
A deep dive with Ted.
There you go.
There we go.
All right. Well, we better get back to tasks and workflows. So, Dan, do you want to go ahead and get going on the slides for us?
Yeah. Somehow I went all the way back to the beginning. So here we go. Okay. So you're going to take the task piece, right?
Yeah, sure.
Or am I speaking to it? I can't remember how we set this up. And Ted's going to, just so you're aware, Ted's going to stay with us, but he's just going to be in the background listening and maybe he'll pick up a few things.
There you go. All right, so I'll go ahead and talk about the tasks and then on the slides, and then Dan will talk about the workflows on the slides, and then I'm actually going to go into QBO and show you from the accountant perspective and from the client perspective how things work, show you how to create some of these automated workflows that'll save you significant amount of time. But first, let's talk briefly about tasks. We're going to go through the slides quickly so we can get into the product and show you there. But as you know, you're familiar with tasks already from our QBOA work area, where you can assign tasks to different team members and due dates, and you can create projects like, for example, monthly bookkeeping that has 10 or 15 different tasks within it. So you're already familiar with some of the tasks. Well, in QBOA, most of these clients have that now. It's rolled out to everybody, I should just say. They have tasks in QBOA Advanced, QBOA V, QuickBooks Online Advanced. So say, for example, you got a small business and they have 5 employees. They have tasks within Advanced where they can work on these tasks and assign them to team members and things like that. And I'm going to demonstrate that to you. But then they also have workflows where you can send reminders to your client or your team. You're going to see how you can create, for example, on invoices, you can send reminders. Your invoice is due in 7 days. Your invoice is due in 3 days. Your invoice is now past due. So you can automate create reminders to be sent to your client for unpaid invoices, as well as a lot of other automated workflows. So this is showing you where you can access the tasks. I'm going to go ahead and and workflows. I'm going to go ahead and ask Dan, let's just skip through some of these. You can refer back to the screenshots later, and I'm going to go in and demo to you.
All right, so I'm going to stop sharing, which will let you take control here.
I love control. All right, let me make sure I am sharing the correct screen. That's always a challenge. That and time zones. Okay, you guys should be seeing QBO advanced demo.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this one that I'm logged in right here, I'm logged in as an employee. So let's pretend it's whatever kind of company. Let's just call it Craig's Design and Landscaping, because we use that as a sample company a lot. So let's say we're, in Craig's and I'm an employee. Let's pretend I'm the sales rep. You'll notice over here, I have my tasks, and you'll be able to see the tasks that have been assigned to me and the tasks that are created by me. Because I'm an employee and I'm not the admin, I don't see everyone's tasks. I'll show you the accountant or admin perspective in just a second. So this is the sales rep's perspective. So these are ones that have been put in here. So let's say I called Ted about a bill that he hasn't paid yet. Ted, come on, get with it. So I called him up and he says, oh, I'm sorry, I just paid it yesterday. You should see it today. So I can come in here and say, okay, that's completed because I've talked to him about it. So now you'll see I don't have as many under overdue tasks, but under upcoming, I need to review my ProAdvisor certification. Yes, we all need to do that. The VCon is going on this week. So if you haven't done it yet, you can renew your core certification or advanced certification. VCon's going on today and tomorrow. We'd love to have you join us over there for that. They're also doing their core certification and advanced. So join us for that. Oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. Okay, so those are my active tasks, and here's my completed tasks. So once I marked it completed, I can see this over here. I can always create a new task whenever I want to, like check on, I don't know, check on upcoming renewed lease. I don't know what to put in here. I'm not good at coming up with things. And I didn't even
things on the fly.
I didn't even spell lease right. Yeah, I'm an accountant. I'm not as creative. So let me just give it a date, and I could put additional stuff in there. Notice as the employee, I can only create tasks for myself. I can't assign it to someone else. So I'll save that. And then I would see that under upcoming tasks. Now let's go look at it as the accountant or the admin. So for Craig's Design and Landscape, the admin, whoever's in charge of that, notice how they can see everyone's tasks. So not only can they see tasks for them or created by them, but they can see everyone's tasks. So I can see here the tasks that we just create, or that we have created for Michelle as the client. And I can see upcoming tasks for myself, as well as the sales rep in this example. All right, so as the admin for the company or the accountant user, I can see everyone's task. And when I create a task, like let's just review this, edit the task here, you'll see I can assign tasks to different team members within the company. Now, within the firm, it's Erin is the admin of this, or the, what do you call it, the lead accountant of this client. So it's got her name here. So she's the accountant user. Michelle, that's like the sales rep for the client. So the tasks are similar but different from what we're used to. So these are tasks for the client company specifically and their employees within the company. When we go back out to QBOA and we look at our client dashboard, that's where we have the work area and we have tasks within our firm. We have projects. So if we go under work, we have projects like monthly bookkeeping, and within our projects, we have a variety of tasks. So it's one of those things where we need to keep in mind now that we can have tasks in a client company if we want to, or we can assign tasks to client employees if we want or need to. So let's say you're in charge of accounts payable for a restaurant client, and you want to make some tasks for the AP manager or for the owner to review the bills that need to be paid. You can assign tasks to that person in the company as opposed to within the firm. These are tasks within your firm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest one of the biggest things to grasp with
Yeah.
is the difference between tasks and where do you see them. I mean, another example of that is customers. You know, like you create a customer in your books, they also show up as a client on your client list. So they're kind of tied together, but a little looser. So so the ones that are in advanced, you'll see a task section that's just for that particular client. And work will show up regardless of what flavor of QuickBooks Online your client happens to be, but that's more for your team and managing the projects and tasks with your team as opposed to the tasks that you might want to have your client do, or they can assign tasks amongst themselves. You know, and it could be non bookkeeping related, you know, tasks. It could be anything that you put in there inside of that. One of the questions that came up here is that can we create a recurring task? And I don't think that's a possibility yet, right, Michelle?
Not that I'm aware of, but what do we do when we want something? Send feedback, give feedback.
Or we have Ted
right
on the show,
here.
so he's here.
Well, and I think we have David and some people from the QBOA team that are
Mhm.
listening in as well. So they're probably taking notes. But yes, recurring tasks for the clients to be able to do that would be a great idea as well. You also, we'll talk about automating workflows in just a minute, but Dennis had a question. Can the tasks sync with Outlook or Google Calendar? Not at this time, but again, give feedback. And honestly, I personally don't want my work tasks for my firm or my tasks for these clients, I don't want that on my calendar. I want to keep that in the QBOA world because I've got enough stuff on my calendar already. I don't want it more littered
Yeah.
with. I like to
like
go into QBOA and look to see what do I have due today or this week, as opposed to seeing it on my calendar. But that's a personal preference.
Yeah.
So
as someone with ADD, you know, when I think of something that needs to be done, I'll tell it to my phone and put a reminder on my phone, and then I have a parent reminder that says check your reminders every day. So so that might be something that you might put in your team work, you know, check the tasks of your clients or something like that. So that's maybe a potential option there. And Jonathan talked about where is it? There's still no notification of task completion. That would be another method of getting notified and reasons that people stop their email communications and don't hear from Ted and the team when when they do those things. But it's always good to have that option. I think from all the things that I've talked to accountants and small business owners over the years, having a choice is better than not having a choice at all.
Yes. And I wanted to ask, Juan had a question here. Can we create recurrent tasks? And that's where tasks are a little different between QBO advanced client company tasks as opposed to your accounting firm tasks. In our accounting firm, within those projects, yes, we can make things recurring, not within the company in QBO advanced at this time. But again, if you'd like that, send that feedback to them because they're continuing to work on QBO Advanced and updating those things. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And then Betty had a question about would these tasks replace the requests in the QBO in the work tab? And let me just pop, whoops, that one signed me out. I was just going to pop back in here. You can do client requests from the work area. And this might be where your client, let's say Craig's Design Landscaping, Craig went out and bought a new truck. And he said, hey, how do I record this purchase? In the work area, what you can do is you can say, well, Ted, you need to send me the purchase agreement. So under here, under create client request, I can send that to the client. So this isn't creating a task within the QBO Advanced company though. And you can create client requests for clients that are using Essentials or Plus. They don't have to be using Advanced. So the client request is in the work feature as opposed to tasks within QBO Advanced company. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, let's see. Do we have any other questions, or do we want to move on? Oh, and Dennis says he on the calendar, it's personal preference. Yeah, different people are gonna like doing that. All right, Dan, what do you think if you go ahead and talk about the workflows for a while, and then let's go in and demo workflows, and then we can come back to questions, because I want to make sure I have time to demo workflows, because they're
awesome. We want to see that. Now, what happened? Every time I stop sharing,
sorry,
something goes okay, and it starts all over again. Passing forward. Okay, well, let's throw out a poll here. Are you currently using tasks and workflows? Is it something that you have been using? Was there other questions in there? And every time I share, because I only have one monitor, everything gets reshuffled, and now I can't see.
Well, David put a great comment in the chat area, and thank you, David. David is a key part of the QBOA team, and he said we are taking notes, so I love to hear that. Thank you. And he said that the task and workflows will send you notifications through the QBO app if you have it installed on your phone, and that's one option. And I will show you that when we go in and we create workflows and things. You can have it notify like a company email, or notify different people. You can copy different people on the email. And also some of those you can set up to notify you in the mobile app. So I think that's a great feature for not just us accounting professionals, but for these clients that are using QBO Advanced. And I can't wait to show you some of these workflows and think about how it can help not just us, but really help our clients.
I'm going to stop the poll, because it looks like most folks have answered. But yeah, it's this is something that a lot of people aren't aware of or using. So this is a great exposure, I think, to these features. So we want to just talk a little bit about the invoice approval. This is the newest template that's built inside of QuickBooks Online Advanced with regards to the workflows. And with respect to the workflows and tasks are somewhat related. So like you can create a workflow that creates a task and assigns it to someone. So this is all in service to streamlining your workflow, right? So invoice approval is one of those things that has recently come out. So what is it, right? So if you have a situation where a certain dollar amount, you want somebody to be involved with that before things actually happen. This could certainly be a case of you don't want just anyone creating invoices and sending those out and those types of things without your knowledge. So this allows someone to be able to approve those email or approve those invoices before the next step would happen, right? So when you go into the workflow template, and Michelle will demonstrate this, when you go into the workflow template, you can add some conditions. In this case, the amount is more or equal to $10,000, right? So you wouldn't want to necessarily have an invoice for $15,000 to automatically start going unless you have that approval. So in this case, the actions then send for approval, you choose a person, and then you have some options of how that person is notified with regards to sending an email, sending a notification, or adding a task to the task manager for that person to do. And then also, if it's not approved, you can then, or within 7 days, it sends a reminder to that approval. So, catching those things before they become, fall off or fall through the cracks. So this is what it looks like when someone creates an invoice that needs approval, right? So obviously this workflow and this invoice are not related, because this one says for $700 and we just talked about $10,000, but you can set that threshold however you like. But in this case, someone has created an invoice that does not that requires that approval, that threshold or those conditions that you set up are met, and it says, okay, this invoice needs internal approval, right? And then what happens is that the invoice, when it's not approved, will have in the upper right here, and or the upper left, you'll see the pending approval, and then there'll be more details, information there for anyone who does not have the approval option. Right, and then if it's not approved, let's say, you know, this shouldn't have been created, and that person denies it, then it will just say not approved, and that's really the end of that transaction, because it's not going to be able to be sent until someone then approves that invoice. So there's several on the invoices tab, where when you go in and look at just all the list of invoices, you can see a variety of options here where it's not sent, but it needs approval. That there will be different statuses in that status column. If it's not sent but pending approval, it'll look a little different. Or if it's denied and not sent, that will look there as well. And admins and users with invoice approval process will see those. Those that won't see that at all. All right. So why using workflows in QuickBooks Online Advanced in general, right? So you spend less time in manual or repetitive work, right? It frees up your high value talents for more strategic tasks. You know, rather than running your QuickBooks, you're running your business, right? And that's one of the, Brad Smith always would say that, you know, where it's your action creates the data. You do an action and it creates the data for you. So that's all in service to what workflows will do. Automate some reminders and approvals, and there's preset workflow templates that will help you, and they're all kind of separated into 3 sections, and we'll get into that. So the next one is next poll. Oops, I stopped sharing here. So we'll go to the next poll. Which areas would you like to see more enhancements in? Would it be just in general, tasks or workflows, or both? Right?
Both. We always want it all, Dan.
Right. That's always the case, you know. More.
Where do you want to see them first? How about that?
Yes, which is a priority. Yes, because it's always all of the above. And I want to address something here too. I apologize for this, but a side question. Somebody said I just passed a QBOA certification in January, February. I don't need to do it again this week, right? No, you don't need to. But if you passed it last year, you need to do the recertification, and the recertification for core and advanced is today, and it repeats tomorrow. So it repeats tomorrow. And if you can't attend live, but you still want to watch this stuff after tax season, go ahead and register for the VCon. I put QBTrainingEvents.com in the chat. So QBTrainingEvents.com. If you register for the VCon and can't attend because you're busy with taxes, you can self-study and listen to the recordings next week after tax season, because you want to do your certification before the end of June or July. I can't remember. July. Dan, is it June or July?
It's July 31st is typically the cutoff date, and then the date for where you've if you've taken it prior to that date, you'll have to do it. I think it's November 1st, right? So if you passed your if you passed your last exam, whatever that happened to be, advanced or regular, you know, QuickBooks Online certification, prior to November 1st, then you're in that I got to recertify by the 31st of July.
And I might just add one more clarification. If you are advanced certified, you do not have to do the recertification for core, because actually the first 2 modules of core, well, there's only 2 modules in the core recertification. It's the same in the advanced recertification, but there's an additional 3rd module in the advanced recertification. So if you're advanced recertified, you only have to do the advanced recert. You can get it done in an afternoon. So get her done.
Exactly. So yeah, it looks like you're correct, Michelle. All of them was the top vote getter there for that poll. So of course we won it all.
We always do, don't we?
Right.
Okay.
So
can I go ahead? Sorry.
I'll just really quick go through, you know, the overview, and then you'll take a dive into actually doing some of these things. So you enter into workflows from the left navigation menu bar. There'll be a section there in QBO Advanced for workflows, and there's some preset templates that are really kind of divided into three main areas, right? So cash inflow management, cash outflow management, and keeping the books clean. So the workflow templates that you're gonna see there are gonna be all in service to those three major areas. So first one is the cash inflow management. You can send invoices timely, right? So invoice approval, as we just talked about, that is managing your cash inflow, right? So if it doesn't get approved, then it's not going to get paid and it's not going to, be deposited. So that's going to stop the cash from inflowing. You can remind yourself to send invoices. So if it's in a queue waiting to be sent, those workflows can be created, and then automatically sending invoices. So this is where no touch, right? So you can set up a condition where it automatically sends anything that's unsent. So that is a great feature there. And then collecting payments in a timely manner. So you've got send customer payment reminders. So you can set up multiple workflows based on different date requirements that payments are due. So again, you don't have to have a collections person, constantly calling folks if payments are undue, or I'm sorry, payments are due but not collected. You can have those payment due reminders based, and you can change the verbiage in each of those reminders, like, hey, it's coming up, hey, it's due, and where are you? Where'd you go? What? Why are you not paying the bill? All right, and then automatically sending a payment receipt, acknowledging, can I get a receipt? That those things are workflow templates that are already there, and then reminding of things that are past due if it's overdue. And then paying vendors in a timely fashion is another in the outflow management. So reminding yourself to pay your vendors before the due date, and then keeping the books clean. Making sure that you're reminding yourself to record the bank deposits. Last thing that people will remember is to put it in the bank, and then the bank feed comes in, and then it puts it in a different place than you actually wanted it to go. So reminding yourself to do that. And then just there's going to be a workflow summary when you've created multiple workflows, and you can edit them from that dashboard. And then this is just a payment due reminder, but actually what we'll have is Michelle go ahead and I'll stop sharing so that you can start sharing again, and we'll actually take a look at under the hood of creating a workflow.
Okay, let me just move that control bar. Okay, so I love sharing it. So thank you, Dan, for giving an intro and going over kind of all the templates that are out there already. So I am in QBO account as I'm in as the accountant's user right now, but the company admin would also see on this left nav bar, you'll see workflows. So here's where Dan was mentioning we have the preset templates that you can use, my workflows, and then history. You also have those tabs across the top here, templates, which you can create templates that Intuit already has set for you. You can just customize them, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But you also can do custom workflow. If Intuit doesn't have a template for you, you can create your own custom workflow. I'm going to demo that as well. My workflows, Dan mentioned the list of all the workflows that are already set up. So you'll notice I set up one here for invoice approval. So what I did, I'm just going to review that for you. So under edit, I said, okay, I'm the owner of the company. Let's edit. There we go. Come on. I hate it when it gets slow like this. Living at the lake, my internet is not as fast as it used to be. Okay, yeah, no. Why are
while we're waiting for your the bits to go up and down from space, there was a question about where do these reminders show up? So when you've created a reminder, those are going to show up either wherever you tell them to go, which is nice. Again, having the choice of where those will go. So when you create the workflow, you can either choose to have it sent as an email, a mobile notification if it's available as a mobile notification. So invoice approval, for example, could just pop up on the guy's phone when they're logged into their phone inside of the app. hey, you need to approve it, you can do and act on it right then and there, right from the phone. Or it could show up as a task, right? So you have all of those three choices as an option to be able to where those reminders are actually going to go.
Yes, thank you, Dan.
Did we catch up with reality?
You did. My computer just decided to misbehave for a minute there. So
blame it on the puppy.
I'm the owner of the company, and I want to make sure that I approve high dollar invoices. So I want to say my sales rep, which I'm going to show you in just a minute from the sales rep perspective, any invoice that's greater than or equal to. So I can choose how much I want to do here. I can say any invoice that's greater than or equal to $5,000. Maybe I don't want to worry about the ones less than those. I could add additional conditions to that if I wanted to. If you don't want to do that, obviously you can get rid of that. You could specify for certain customers. Maybe I've got a specific customer that has written me a lot of bad checks. So I might want to have every invoice approved. So I might want to have it 0 for a particular customer. So I could come in and choose one particular customer if I wanted to.
And Michelle,
yeah,
on that customer, there's the qualifier there is within or is not within.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a sticking point for me to find, to understand what that is. So by default, all of the customers, if you don't put a condition in there about customers, all of the customers will show up.
Mm-hmm.
But really what it means is include or exclude, right?
Yes.
So you could choose, if you chose not within and chose just like five or so customers that it doesn't apply to, then every other customer will apply to. Or if you choose a specific subset of customers, you would choose within and then choose those specific customers.
It's a great clarification. Thank you, Dan. So on this one, though, I didn't have it for a particular customer. I had it for all customers, any invoice over 5,000. So if this happens, then take this action. Create a task for Erin, and we'll pretend she's the owner of the company. Send her a notification, and this is where you can choose email or mobile. So you can get notifications. Hey, Erin, you need to go in and approve this invoice. If it is not approved, so you can choose here. So if we got an invoice over $5,000, take these actions: create a task, notify her, and if she doesn't do anything about it, what do you want me to do? You can say, okay, well, if not approved within so many days, you can choose, do you want to send a reminder or auto approve it? Some people might say, well, you know what, just go ahead and auto approve it. I don't think I would do that because that negates the purpose of having an approval process. Within the email, you can add additional. So if I want to send it to Erin as well as someone else, like the sales rep, I could do that, but they can log in and see it. Or you can do a BCC. And this is great because this is where you can change and customize the invoice email reminder, the email that's telling them to approve the invoice. So for example, we got what invoice number requires approval. Invoice doc number, let's say I want to say the invoice number in the amount of, if you hit the pound sign or the hashtag sign, if you want to put in here in the amount of for, and then I could also do hashtag the customer name is pending approval. So you can customize that email to provide that information. So, when Erin looks at the document number, she may not know what it is. I can give her some additional detail in the message for the email. So again, if you want to add custom fields, you hit the hashtag or the pound sign, and you can include custom fields here for what you want to put in there. So that's the emails that you could send out. And then if you do the mobile, that's going to go to the mobile app where she can see the notification out here. Now, what I did is I created this approval workflow, and then I went in, I'm going to discard any changes. I went in and I pretended I was the sales rep. So you have me, Michelle, the client. So this is employees of the company, like a sales rep of the company. They're in QBO Advanced. Notice I don't see workflow because I can't, as an employee, I don't have permissions. Otherwise, I could go in and edit the rule for an invoice approval and change it, create an invoice and, embezzle money or whatever. So the employees don't have access to edit those workflows or create the workflows. But what I did, I'm going to go ahead and pull up some previous invoices because last night, prepping this, because as you know, sometimes things don't behave as they should. I went ahead and created, as the sales rep, I created 2 invoices. So the first invoice I did for $5,000. Notice up here at the top, it says needs approval because that invoice was for $5,000. It met the approval of that workflow. I also then created an invoice for $3,750, which is under the amount. Notice how it says approved. So I love how you can use this. It helps the owner of the company have more control, save time, and to be able to set some of those workflows. And invoice approval is just one, but wait, there's more. I love this. So under the templates, and I see we only got 4 minutes, so bear with me, people, because this is great. We mentioned how we have all these preset templates. Dan reviewed those with you. Estimate follow-up reminder. Well, this template will send a follow-up reminder to my customer so that they know, hey, you need to accept the estimate. What if I want to remind my sales rep after we send an estimate out, follow up with them to see if they have any questions or if everything looks okay? So I can create a custom workflow. All right. So this is going to be follow up on estimates. And so you can choose the source transaction. This is the trigger that you're going to use to tell it when to do something. So I'm going to say when the source transaction is an estimate, when the estimate amount is whatever. Well, I want it for all estimates. So I'm going to say when the estimate status is within pending. Any pending estimate, and I could add additional criteria for amounts or customers or whatever I wanted to do. I want you to send a reminder or send a reminder, let's say 3 days after the estimate is created. Okay, so what I'm saying is if there's an estimate that's pending, that means the client hasn't accepted it yet. Send a reminder 3 days after the estimate. Now, do I want to create a reminder in tasks? Yes. I want to remind my salesperson, which is Michelle, the client. I want to remind my salesperson to contact that client, review estimate number with client. I want Michelle, the sales rep, to call the client, see if they have any questions. Was the estimate okay? So they're following up so I don't lose sales. And I can say close the task when the estimate is accepted. Do I want to send the customer an email? Not for this one because I'm sending them a separate one. I'm using the Intuit template. Do I want to send a company email? Maybe you want all notifications to go to a central company email account. And do you want to send a push notification and you can have it pop up then for them to see that they're going to be getting it. An estimate needs your approval, go look at it. So I love, and then you click save and enable. So save just saves it, but enable turns it on. So from here forward, every time I create an estimate, 3 days later, the sales rep is going to get a reminder task that says contact the client to see if they had any questions about that estimate. How cool is that? Right?
Yeah, I hate to use the word game changer, but I mean, it is a really differentiation between the other versions of QuickBooks Online. I mean, if you're like a lot of people who love the desktop, I mean, this really is,
that's so
letters,
2000s or something.
This is customer letters. This is, all those things that, that you can do in desktop with letters and engagements and mail merge, but without all of the Microsoft nonsense, which trying to get all those Word doc templates working and sent out properly.
And think about all the admin time that this saves for these companies and these employees, and how it helps the owner manage and control their business while saving time. And I think also it can help with sales. It can help with cash flow because you have the invoice reminders going out. I mean, it just can help from so many different manners. I just think this feature alone, the workflows and tasks, is worth getting QBO Advanced, in my opinion. Because it's a huge saver for us and for our clients. So I'm glad to share it with you. I know we went over it, kind of quickly, but you've got screenshots to refer back. And I'm going to put the link to the QBO Advanced test drive in the chat. Or if you just Google QBO test drive, you can go out there and play around with this and create some sample workflows on your own. So I'll copy this test drive for you.
And I launched the last poll while you were talking there, and people starting to answer it. Has your opinion changed since tasks and workflows were introduced? And we have someone watching from the UK, and she's saying she's so jealous that she doesn't have that because it's only US based QBO Advanced. Ted, could you maybe speak to the global versions of QuickBooks Online and where Advanced is coming? Because every time we talk about Advanced, our Canadian friends or UK, our global friends, they are like, why don't we have this yet?
Yeah, the good news is there's very active conversations about where do we take Advanced, because we see the amazing traction it's having in the US. So I would say stay tuned. Can't say anything at this point, but
right.
There's a lot of interest
secrecy.
Dan, a couple other things I want to point out and answer is another way that you can get to the workflows instead of the left nav bar is under the big gear up on the top under tools. You'll see manage workflows. And then I saw several questions in there. Ted had mentioned, hey, everybody, make sure that you didn't opt out of our emails. And everybody says, where do I do that? If you go under the gear Intuit account and under the data privacy area, that's where you can make sure to enable those email notifications from Intuit. I don't want to go in there because then everybody will see my, login name and password or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, it's under Intuit account. Okay, so you can go in there and make sure under data privacy in there. All right.
David just posted a link to help people go straight there.
Perfect. Thank you. I didn't notice that. I saw that question. A lot of those questions went before. Okay, so any last minute things that we need to cover or some more questions that we want to answer?
We've run over just a little bit, so we'll blame Ted for that. But thank you, Ted, for coming today and talking to our audience and talking to us, and really appreciate you being able to share what you can about some of the things that are priorities for the accounting community. And we'd love to have you come back and go a little deeper into
That'd be great.
Into your mind.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for your commitment. Thanks everybody on the call for joining, especially in the last week before the tax deadline. I know everybody's time is super precious, so love being with you. Excited to return and share more and continue the conversation and learn.
Thank you, Ted. And we look forward to hearing more from you in the future. So thank you.
So just coming up, just a reminder, our next one will be on niche nuances with real estate. So join us in a couple weeks for a new QB Power Hour with Gita Faust will be joining us. And we look forward to seeing you then. And Michelle, it's always great to see you. And who knows what will be behind me next time.
That's right. It's going to be where in the world is Dan? So
right. It'll be a fun guessing game.
Yes. So thank you again, Ted. Thank you, Dan, and everybody. I'm going to go see you in VCon. I hope to see you over there. Okay.
All right. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.
Bye.